Polish engineering, and the first revolution in the construction industry in over 100 years. This is how the presentation of the next product.
I want to take a look at new construction methods and technologies that have really come like a long way and maybe even simplified urban development, even suburban rural development. A lot of these, they seem to kind of speed up the development and building process. They also seem to make things a bit more environmentally friendly, and seem sometimes, depending on the materials used, it can be more economical. A lot of them, to me, they look very pragmatic and more simple to use, based on what the presenters of the product or that specific technology, the way they demonstrate. It looks like really cutting edge and can really assist with like developing areas that are maybe not developed, or also blending in with the natural environment, depending on the type of technology or tool used. I want to take a look at this first one. It's high-speed railroads. It basically they prefabricate the tracks and kind of lay them down, and I think this is really good for putting down new tracks, especially in places in like North America that are kind of undeveloped, wild, tame, or you really maybe you don't want to maybe develop there, but you want to transport goods and services. It seems like a really fast and pragmatic way just to lay track down and transport people and goods a long distance. This could really work well also in a developing country. Let's take a look.
What can you build if you have $3 billion? One option is a 76.4 mile long high-speed railroad. That's exactly what they did in Germany, and they went all in. They built 35 railroad bridges and 39 highway bridges as part of this project, along with a viaduct about 4 miles long that was the longest in Europe when the work was completed. Thanks to the project, it only takes 43 minutes to drive from Erfurt to Leipzig, and 34 minutes to get from Erfurt to Halle. Not surprisingly, as the train travels at 186 miles per hour, which is only 12.4 miles slower than the famous Japanese bullet trains. If you want to
I thought that was a really good illustration of the prefabricated, or I want to say, prefabricated track design. Basically, they laid down the tracks. The tracks seem to be constructed somewhere else, and they just kind of lay them down piece by piece, almost like I don't know if the Lego fashion is the best way to describe it, or almost just like a toy track. Like you just come with the pieces and you just lay them down. This could really work in some really basically undeveloped terrain where you want to transport goods and people really fast. I think this would work well maybe in like territories that are not national parks, but like outside of that, territories that are okay to kind of transport things. And also I noticed, well, North America has no high-speed rail, but if they want a high-speed rail, this would be the way to go as far as setting it up. It's faster and it seems pretty accurate as far as measurements and things like that. The next technology or kind of development I want to take a look at is, it's kind of like building a wall building a wall around your home. I noticed if you visit some other countries, a lot of homes have these high walls around them. They may not have the sophisticated I want to say police or law enforcement that you might see in a more developed country. Even some of these developed countries have this. The house has a really high walls around them, but this basically takes like a steel frame looking wall. There's nothing in it, and they pile rocks into it. Just take a look. I don't know if I gave it justice by describing it, or did it justice, but take a look and check it out.
You may need to build some walls and a gate. Conventional options are boring and not always beautiful, but this one will remind you a little of the glory days of chivalry and allow you to feel like a castle owner. The idea is simple. First you put a metal frame, and then pour or place stones in it. The resulting construction is called gabion, and it's probably familiar to fans of military history. It's been used since the 16th century. After all, the frame is easy enough to carry, and the stones and earth are easy to find on the site. The manufacturer of this modern version assures that their gabion protects from noise and dust, and is suitable for installation in mountainous and hilly terrain. They charge about $13 for a 1.6-foot square block.
Again, that was the basically the wall. You can basically pick up rocks and put it inside the frame there. I'm not the biggest fan of that, but at the same time, I would use it depending on where I lived. It seemed pretty sturdy and a good way to maybe, if you lived kind of far out, to kind of secure your home. It's not a bad idea if you live in a developing country or out in more spacious areas of your developed country, out in the countryside or by the woods. It's pretty sturdy material to use, and it looks pretty secure. I don't think any and everything would be climbing over the wall to get to your home. But then again, it's I don't know, you never know. But yeah, it's okay. I think it's okay. I probably I don't know, depending on where I live, I'd probably go for maybe that along with something else. This next technology I want to look at, it's almost like it's like a Legos. That's the only thing I can think of to compare it to. Legos or Jenga. It's like a combination of Legos and Jenga, where it's building homes and structures like off of little blocks you just set on top of each other. It's really cool to check out. I'm gonna play the video in a second. Give me a second.
Of Polish engineering and the first revolution in the construction industry in over 100 years. This is how the presentation of the next product begins. These are patented blocks, which don't even need to be joined with cement or anything else. You just stack them on top of each other like Lego bricks, without skilled workers, in any weather, and at a decent speed. A standard block measures about 30 by 14 by 12 inches and weighs 70.5 pounds. There are 21 versions available, and the blocks are made from perlite, a rock of volcanic origin. By the manufacturer's calculations, the blocks can more than halve the construction time and reduce waste, which on the usual construction of a house ends up costing more than $3,000.
I thought that was an awesome idea for building a structure, any type of structure. Only thing I'm wondering, it looks pretty strong and sturdy. I'm just wondering about things like flooding or rain. They look pretty tightly packed, but I'm not sure about how sealing things would occur, as far as like sealing for insulation and things like that, how that would work. I guess you could do it inside. I don't know, or maybe just for some assurance you could put some cement sealing in between them. I don't know. No, I mean, it looks pretty sturdy. I would use it. I just don't know how I would apply it. I don't know if I would apply it to the entire home. I'd have to see this firsthand, but I think it's a good idea. I think it looks like it's like an affordable idea, especially when you're building like a tiny home. Actually, building a tiny home out of that would seem more sturdy than some of the things I've seen. Some examples I've seen, but that may be for another video. So moving on, there is another type of material I want to look at. It's kind of like it's called dry fill, I think. Basically, it's like a filling. You know how like you use the foam to fill the holes, or to keep mice out, or maybe certain areas in the home where there's cracks and crevices. This one seems pretty fancy. Reminds me, I remember one time I was coming home and I entered the house and I heard flapping and I couldn't figure out what the flapping noise was. And I just kept flapping. I was looking around, and then I noticed I heard the flapping closer to the bathroom. And when I walked to the bathroom, I saw a bird, and I was trying to figure out how this bird got in my place. So I kind of somewhat chased him around to try to get him out. I was trying to open doors, open windows. He wouldn't fly out. This is how I discovered how he came in. He tried to go out the way he came back in. He kind of like chopped his way. There was basically he chopped his way through some insulation somewhere. There was like a crevice. Maybe it wasn't sealed, and I hadn't seen it before. And that was where it gave me the hint of where he came from, because he tried to go back that way. And after seeing him do that, I actually got him out. He went out through the front door. I had it wide open. It took a while. It took a good 10-15 minutes. And then after he left, I made sure I bought a type of sealant, and I basically sealed that crevice so just to prevent any other neighbors from creeping in the place. But I thought it was real interesting. I like how this sealant here I'm about to show you, you can use these little cylindrical things, these blue cylindrical things, to separate wires if you have to insert any type of cabling or wire in there. Take a look at it. Let me know what you think in the comments.
Used sealant and thermoplastic sleeves. The sleeves will allow you to easily and quickly split cables and pipes, as well as create a bearing surface. After application, the sealant retains its elasticity, so the cables and pipes can shift slightly. In addition, the sealing system retains its properties in temperatures ranging from 356 to -58 degrees Fahrenheit, allows the installation of communications at any angle, and provides some vibration absorption. As an extra bonus, there is a special program that allows you to calculate the amount of necessary materials and keep track of them.
This next technology is kind of like a mold, and it's kind of like how you kind of build your structure using this mold. You set it up where you want the walls to be, and you insert concrete inside of the mold. I don't know if I'm describing this correctly, but you'll see in a second. It seems pretty affordable. I like the idea, actually. To me, it seems a lot more sturdy than the cheap materials that we see going up today. Especially what I see around North America. It looks like a lot of houses are made out of cardboard, and they could just basically just burn down in 5 minutes. But this looks pretty sturdy and a better way of constructing a more quality home, in my opinion anyway. Check it out.
Molds for pouring concrete and building reinforced concrete structures is the significant reduction in shipping costs. On average, you can save from 50 to 55% more than with traditional materials. The unique folding design of the formwork saves space in the back of a truck. Studies have shown that one truck can carry about 7,700 square feet of such blocks. To bring the same amount of traditional materials, you'd need to use at least 3 trucks. This is how the smart choice of materials can reduce the carbon output of any project without compromising the strength and productivity of the work.
I thought that was pretty neat. There's a lot of structures you can build with that. It seems like easier in regards to measurements, because you already have the mold in place and you just basically pour in the concrete or whatever material you want to use of your choice. This kind of segues into another technology I'd like to look at, basically 3D printing homes. There's so many versions of this that are like being developed right now, and it seems like we're just still on the cutting edge of this. One I really want to take a look at is basically a 3D printing company, and they've designed a device that uses clay as a material. So you can basically take this 3D printing tool, it's a huge one, to 3D print your home. I know there's like 3D printing tiny homes, and there's ways to do that with concrete and other kind of like solid materials that start off with maybe some type of a liquid like concrete. I don't know if it's liquid or creamy type of liquid, but this you can use dirt, and here's dirt in the clay. You basically take this machine or this device to any location, and you use the dirt in that location, and it basically makes clay, and it 3D prints your home from that dirt and clay. It's kind of like you can take something from the past and recreate it, and then your interior can be modern. It's really cool how it's set up. There are some drawbacks, like some economic drawbacks, but I think this could really be improved upon, especially for countries that are developing. This is like perfect. It's kind of a good way for them to start out with a green objective, right? Or a more environmentally friendly objective, and not have to suffer the same level of pollution and other illnesses. I don't know, other issues that your post-industrial nations have to deal with. There's so much that could be improved upon on this right now, but I really feel optimistic about this particular type of development or technology. Check it out.
Out of locally sourced clay. To do so, MCA used a 3D printing technology developed by a company called Wasp. I know, they're not buzzing with originality. Jokes aside, how does that work? Well, Wasp developed a software package that allowed the simultaneous control and operation of 2 printing arms. The company claims this software is the first of its kind anywhere in the world. After mixing raw earth from that location with water, the 2 3D printers scored out 350 layers of clay in a wave-like manner to ensure structural stability. They also use rice waste in the goop to increase the insulating properties. When it's complete, you have 2 interconnected dome-shaped units, including an open space living room and an ensuite bedroom. On top of that, Wasp machine.
I thought that was really, really awesome. Again, that video goes into some drawbacks, especially transportation, financial issues that could come up with it, but those all can be improved upon. This could really be a dramatic change in development all across the world. You're just taking the raw clay and dirt. Not only does this print houses, but you can print tables and chairs and furniture with this. It's almost like if they could come up with a 3D printer that uses all kind of materials. It's kind of like in their previous video, I don't know if you watched that, I talked about different forms of energy going through one device and providing energy for the home. Imagine this, if this 3D printer, you could use whatever material you choose to your choice. Like you just hit a button, right? And say, okay, I want to use clay for this, maybe wood for this, rocks for this. There's like so many directions you could go, but this is an awesome idea, I thought, especially for places where there's not a lot of development and you want to start off with like a green foundation. This would be perfect. I mean, you can insert like solar type of technology into these structures. You can make it look really modern and sleek without any pollution or contamination to the environment. You could basically construct a whole green city, like a truly environmentally friendly city where the homes and the furniture and everything is just made from the earth without any chemicals or anything detrimental to the human and animal life in that environment. There's so much I can get into. I might do another video like this. I just thought these were really neat advancements in construction technologies that could really like help you kind of build a neighborhood or a city in a shorter amount of time than we used to do in the past. Thank you so much for your patience and listening, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks again.